Hey everybody, Beer Leaguer here with another episode of the Beer Leaguer podcast. And on this episode, we're going to talk about some holiday gift ideas. And I say holiday gift ideas because unlike a lot of the hockey gift videos and podcast stuff like that I see out there, I'm not going to be talking about like, hey, buy somebody, $1,000 skates or $800, hockey sticks or a spark sharpener or anything like that, because great if you can, but I'm talking about small stuff. So this is stuff that either, you can get for friends of yours or family members, or, send this episode to somebody that's got to buy something for you. Stuff for like stocking stuffers or Secret Santas or anything like that. Little stuff like that, I think any beer leaguer would enjoy to get, and cool things to ask for, and stuff that's easy to ask for. Stuff that's not super specific. A lot of those big expensive things, they're very specific to get for. I know me personally, I wouldn't want somebody buying me equipment because, I got to try it on, I got to check it out, and even if I give them the exact specs of what I want, I still kind of want to get it. I'd rather them give me like a gift card to the hockey store so I can go buy it myself. So, not going to be talking about that. Going to be talking about small stuff, little bits and bops and stuff like that you can ask for and I think are cool and helpful stuff to have. So, first, I will mention I did one of these episodes last year. I will put a link in the show notes. And show notes always available in the descriptions for the podcast, but also available over at thebeerleaguer.com. And I'll put a link to that show notes that has stuff from last year in it. And then also I'm going to have a list of all this stuff as a easy to click through site at thebeerleaguer.com/holiday. So that'll have links to just about everything I talk about. Some of the really generic stuff I'm not going to have links to because it's super generic stuff. But pretty much everything I talk about will be on there. So that's thebeerleaguer.com/holiday. All right, so I'm going to kick things off with, I'm kind of calling these like stocking stuffers, like little things that I think are neat. First off, my favorite place where I'm buying gifts for anybody, hockey related or not, to find unique and different stuff is to go check out Etsy. Etsy has all kinds of, it's mostly people making stuff out of their house. So it's a lot of handmade stuff, a lot of really unique things on there. And so I have a link for like some hockey stuff on there. And a couple of things that I pulled out that I thought were kind of cool is one, they call them shoe charms, but everyone knows these are Croc charms. They're little hockey Croc charms. I mean, come on, if you're wearing Crocs, why not have those? Have hockey stuff on there. Is it silly and goofy? Yeah, but they're also super cheap and they're fun. So that's on there. Also, someone is making stick holders. So it is a like little just plastic holder that for the top of your sticks, keep your sticks kind of organized and from falling over on them. Like if you have them set up in the garage or in a room or something like that, you just mount this on the wall and it just kind of holds them straight up if you don't want to go build a giant stick rack or something like that. So that's a cool thing. And the last thing I found on Etsy that I thought was kind of a cool, different sort of thing is a set of coasters that has, I guess, etched or printed on them. Have you ever seen these anatomy of posters? And so they have like anatomy of a puck, anatomy of skate, stuff like that. So kind of a cool hockey related, neat little gift that I think anybody would enjoy getting from there. And again, all this stuff from Etsy. So if you're going to get stuff from Etsy, my big tip is get it early because shipping is, again, it's usually just people doing this out of their house. So buy it early because it's not always the quickest to get shipped out. So there you go. Also, for kind of smaller things that I think are really neat, Howie's, everybody I think knows Howie's tape, Howie's wax, Howie's kind of everything that they make now for all sorts of things. Every year they do a different ornament. And again, it's kind of a cheesy thing, but it's a fun thing to get. And this year it is a Little can, like open can of wax is the ornament. So that's a cool thing. Also, another thing, and I talked about this last year, but I think this is a great idea for somebody. And these are easy to find anywhere. I have a link for a Amazon version of these if you don't want to have to go looking around. Is getting a lacrosse ball and a trigger point ball. So these are two different things, and these are great because we're beer leaguers, we're out of shape, we're probably super sore after games and have stuff that bother us in weird spots. And lacrosse balls and trigger point balls are super helpful. So lacrosse ball, you know what those are, like a smaller kind of hard ball that you can use, and you can use that for like a self massage. So if like the bottom of your feet hurt, or rolling it over like your shoulders or your back or anything like that, really nice. It gives like a nice easy way to kind of help massage some of those weird muscle pulls and stuff that you get. And then trigger point balls are very much the same thing, except they're pointy. They're not super hard, but they're hard-ish, and they just are like a deeper version of using a lacrosse ball. So I found a really cheap set of one of each on Amazon, put a link to that on the site. And yeah, I think those are super helpful and super nice for beer leaguers to use. Like I said, we're mostly old, not out of shape, and need any help we can get. Another thing, I've mentioned this multiple times on a bunch of different episodes for things, I think a really handy thing to have is a boot dryer. You can find these if you're anywhere in the world right now where it's cold. You can probably find these. If there's anywhere it snows somewhat regularly, you're probably going to find these around. By me, I find them at like places like Costco or even like Walmart and stuff has them. Any of these kind of boot dryers that are made, for like flipping your boots over and putting them on there so they dry out and they're nice and warm when you go to wear your boots again. Great for skates and your gloves. You don't want to run them for a super long time and completely dry that stuff out, but run it for a little bit and help dry out your skates, especially, which you should be doing every time you're done skating anyways. And make sure you take your insoles out when you're doing that. But that'll help your skates last a lot longer. So I think those are really nice kind of thing to have as a boot dryer. Now, kind of my next listing of things is what I'm calling hockey bag essentials. You have your super generic stuff like tape. Everybody always needs tape. So either, tape for your stick, which again, people can be kind of picky on. So just be aware of that. Maybe you're super picky and only want a certain brand or a certain color or whatever. But clear tape, just about everybody uses clear tape. So having a lot of clear tape is never a bad thing. And I find people are much less picky about clear tape than they are about stick tape. So clear tape is a pretty good gift for things. Also, too, a lot of times you can find clear tape if you go to like hockey stores, a lot of times they'll have bundles of clear tape that you can buy, so it's usually pretty cheap. So that's definitely one thing I would look at. Another thing is an accessory bag or like a tape bag or something like that to keep in your hockey bag to kind of keep somewhat organized, especially if you're somebody that has just one of those giant like duffel bags that doesn't have organization in it. Having an accessory bag can be super helpful so you're not digging around trying to find, all your different little pieces of stuff you have in your bag. So that's a handy thing to have. And it can be anything. There's, different hockey brands make them, but you can also just get a generic little, any kind of accessory bag. You can go to, I like to look for stuff like this in camping sections at a lot of big box stores because they usually have a lot of good stuff. Because that stuff's usually like watertight and usually pretty affordable. So that's where I look for a lot of these if you don't want like a hockey branded one. And something else you can put in this little accessory bag. So this is stuff that you can put in there that I think is handy. One of my favorites, talked about it last year, but I still love it. It's a thing called Tape Tiger. I have a link to it in the on the site here. Like I said, thebeerleaguer.com/holiday. Tape Tiger, what it is just an accessory made for removing the tape off the blade of your hockey stick. And I know you don't need this for it for sure, but it can make it removing tape super easy, especially if you or whoever you're buying for is somebody that likes to change their stick tape a lot. You can change, get your tape off of there in one swoop and get your tape off in, like 30 seconds sometimes with this thing. So I really like Tape Tiger. I think it's a really handy thing. And it's one of those not totally necessary, but, nice things to have. Two other things, though, that are probably a lot more necessary to have. And these are super generic things. You can find them all different places for all different price points. And, get kind of whatever, get creative with whatever you want to get for these is one, some sort of slides or shower shoes that you can get. Again, these, it's just something to wear in the shower because locker room showers are disgusting. So you want to have something on your feet. And while they're not perfect, something's better than nothing. So, something slightly above like the super generic flip flop that's made out of weird foam is going to be great. So it can hold up a little bit, but doesn't have to be anything that crazy. It doesn't have to be anything super expensive. You don't have to get like the fancy recovery slides that cost like $40. You can go to a bargain store and probably spend under $5 for some of these. They don't have to be anything fancy. Don't have to be something super comfortable as long as they fit your feet, because you're going to be wearing them to walk to the shower and scrub up and then walk back out. So, that's fine. And then along with that, which is something that's surprisingly harder and harder to find, at least by me, is for when you're showering, is that like all-in-one shower gel wash, whatever you want to call it. Like that's what I personally like to use, is the stuff that's like, shampoo plus conditioner plus face wash plus, body wash. A lot of them also, you can find are also like shaving gel. So I guess if you're somebody that's doing that in the shower after games, it could be that too. But I'm finding that harder and harder to find actually in stores a lot of times, and finding it. I'm still finding it in hockey stores, but it's like stuff that's like specifically hockey branded and is expensive. But I look for that in, your bargain, your outlet stores, things like that, because again, not something that you need to be paying a bunch for. I don't think. I think you can get the cheap stuff and it works just fine for it, for showering after games. But yeah, that's something else that I think is a good idea for looking for people for things. Also, I have a link on here for a TikTok I did over the summer. I was out at IKEA and found a bunch of stuff at IKEA that could be repurposed for hockey things. A lot of things that are handy for like drying your equipment and stuff like that. And it's IKEA, everything's cheap. And I'll link to that TikTok that has those ideas in it. So maybe if you're out buying other gifts for other people, or somebody's out looking for other stuff for things there, you can send them to that and go, hey, I'd take one of these, to help with storing or drying off my equipment or whatever. So thought that was a handy thing to throw in. And then finally, I went through, found some other kind of more specific things of stuff that I really like and I think is really handy. This is all stuff that I found on Amazon, because Amazon is super easy to use and just about everybody can buy stuff from it. So stuff that I thought would be good. One is actually a book. It's called Fabric of the Game. I actually have this book. It's a neat kind of, it's almost a coffee table size book that kind of goes through the history of hockey uniforms and talks about kind of how some of these things got created and, how they came about and unique stuff on them and little tidbits on what different parts of, logos and colors and stuff like that mean. And it's got fun pictures of old jerseys and stuff. And it's a really cool book. It's a really interesting book, I think. So if you're interested in history of hockey or like jerseys, I would definitely check it out. It's called Fabric of the Game. Another thing that I didn't know that this was a thing that existed, and this kept popping up in different things I was looking at that was completely unrelated. I mean, they're hockey things, but completely unrelated to this, which seemed like a cool idea, is they're hockey puck whiskey stones. So they're just hockey puck shaped whiskey stones. I think that kind of explains it right there. Next thing, I always keep in my bag a Bluetooth speaker. So if we want to listen to music in the locker room before or after games or something like that, having a cheap, emphasize cheap, Bluetooth speaker that is waterproof is nice to have. I know a lot of kids teams, they like wheel in these giant monstrous speakers I see, and I guess if you want to do that, that's fine. I have just a little junky one. I have two different speakers linked on this list. One is kind of like the cheapest speaker I could find on Amazon that I thought fit the bill, and then one is the Anker brand speaker that I have. That the prices on these fluctuate a lot, but I think it's a handy thing to have in your bag. They're all rechargeable, so you don't have to worry about batteries. Really, just charge it up. The charge usually lasts for hours of playing and for a super long time of not using it. And they all get plenty loud, because I don't think anybody's bumping music super loud pre and post game in beer league, but they get loud enough so you can listen to stuff. I've also used it to listen to playoff sports in lockers before and after games and stuff like that too. So it's handy for that. But a big thing is, like I said, you want to have some sort of level of water resistance or waterproof on it, just because if it's gonna be in your bag, your stuff's wet, your stuff's sweaty, and if you don't have that, the speaker is gonna not last very long at all. So that's a handy thing to look for. Also, I've used these. These are a super fun kind of gift. They're the puck bottle openers. It's a super simple thing. It's a hockey puck that's kind of been hollowed out, and it's got a bottle opener in it. Super neat, cool thing to have as a kind of a gift for somebody. Also, this is kind of a keep in your bag sort of thing too, for people that, I don't know, I have one in my bag, and I think someone asks to borrow it almost every game. It's a stubby screwdriver. You can find tons of these out there. The one I linked to on Amazon, there's two things I specifically like about the one that I linked to. One is it is actually a small stubby screwdriver, and everything stores inside of the screwdriver. There's nothing like out, like none of the bits are left in the screwdriver or anything. Everything stores inside of it. So you're not losing, the bit that you use normally in the bottom of your bag or anything like that. That's one big thing. And the other big thing for me is it has different types of attachments for it. So it's not just your regular Phillips and flathead screwdriver. It also has a couple other kinds. So if you have some different sort of stuff that people need to have, screwed down, like I know some skates will have there'll be like some screws on skates for different things, and it will be the like Allen keys, like the Allen key size or whatever you call those, or the squares or something like that. And this has a couple different ones. So that's what I like, because if you're going to have a stubby screwdriver, get one that's got a couple different attachments to it and a couple different styles on it, so it can sort of work with everything. Otherwise, it's kind of not worth having. So I think I linked a pretty nice one to it on the site. Another thing I've linked on there is the Utty. I think that's what you call it. Maybe it's the Utty. I don't know. It's UTTY gear hanger. I've talked about this a couple times in some other episodes as one of the why the hell didn't I think of this thing. What it is it's like a long like fabric strap. It looks like almost like the strap you'd have on like your hockey bag, and it just has like attached on it a bunch of hangers for your hockey stuff. So it's got a hanger at the top, and it's got a bunch of hangers on it, and the idea is you can just kind of take it wherever. I mean, honestly, you could store it in your bag. It comes with a little bag. You can store it in your bag and always have it wherever your gear is. And great for traveling, or also great for just having a way to easily hang up your gear when you get home after hockey. If you don't already have a great place for it, hanging on the back of a door overnight or something like that. This is like a great temporary solution for it. They're cheap. Like I said, it's temporary, doesn't take up any room, holds all your stuff, just kind of lets it be up and hang out. Like I said, overnight is usually enough to dry out gear. So they sell that on Amazon now, and I thought it was a super neat thing. The thing that I have for hanging my gear is a gear hanger from Hang Your Gear. Also have a link to that. All that is it looks like a super heavy duty clothes hanger that you hang some of your stuff on, and then it has a bunch of straps and clips that come off of it, so you can hang all of your smaller gear off of those. But everything hangs off of that. It's a hanger. You can hang it in a closet, hang it off the back of a door, something like that. I've traveled with it. Super, super easy way to be able to hang up your gear, either at home or on the road. And finally, the last thing that I have for a gift idea is hockey stick, snow brushes, and grill tools. And these are things that they're kind of cheesy, but they're also kind of fun. I have the snow brush in my truck, and I use it. And every time I use it, I kind of laugh at it because it's kind of silly because it's a hockey stick, but it's a snow brush. And that's like a fun gift to have, to get yourself or to give to somebody for it. Bonus points if you can find one of those that's made out of a stick that the person either really likes or really wanted to have or used or something like that. Little bit nicer there. But that's another super fun one. So there you go, everybody. There is my 2024 holiday gift guide. Everything on here is pretty cheap. Probably the most expensive thing is maybe getting close to $50. A lot of stuff is in the $15 to $20 range of things. So, super handy stuff if you need gifts for a buddy, or if you need somebody, like if you have small kids and they're looking for something to get for you, they could be stuff from this list like that to give out. Once again, the list you can find at thebeerleaguer.com/holiday. So go check that out. Hopefully this was helpful. As always, everybody, appreciate any way you can support the show. Likes, comments, share the show around, send this episode or other episodes to all your teammates, all your friends. Tell them to listen to it. Helps out a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll catch you in the next one.